Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 83. Andrew Eisen here, and I'm the only one here. Because Zachary, unfortunately, is under the weather today, so solo show! How are you doing? I'm fine. Better than fine, I suppose, because I have Monster Hunter World. And I've been playing it since I got home last night. Well, I did go to bed at some point, so. But I went to bed later than I should have. Didn't get up as early as I wanted. I have a class Saturday morning, uh, and I didn't go because I didn't get up in time. It's at 8:30, so normally I get up at 7:30, and I woke up at 8:30 this morning, 8:35. So I went, well, guess I'm not going to the gym this morning. So slept until another hour, got up, and instead of making breakfast, I immediately fired up Monster Hunter again, just to, play a little bit before breakfast. I got the dishes out and everything, and then I went and sat down and started playing Monster Hunter. And then I took a break and ate breakfast around 5:30 in the evening. Yeah. Um, this damn engrossing game! Um, Nathan, you've never heard of Monster Hunter until yesterday, huh? Well, it came out yesterday, and it is fantastic, unless you don't like the game. It's one of those fairly polarizing games in that it can be very grindy, but the grind is, for me, part of the fun. I don't buy $60 games. I didn't pay $60 for this. I paid $47.99. Um, so Monster Hunter is a pseudo MMO, I guess, except I would call it a action RPG with multiplayer. Um, Basically, you have a stick, and there's a monster over there. So you beat the monster in the head with the stick until it dies, and then you carve off little bits and bobs with which you use to make a better stick, with which you beat the snot out of an even larger monster, and then you carve off its bits and bobs to make a bigger stick to go fight bigger monsters, and so on and so forth. And you do that with armor also. You can do this by yourself, which is my preferred way of playing, or you can team up with three other people online. And no, not Van Helsing, not vampires and Frankenstein's monster and Wolfman. No, big fire-breathing lizard monster things. It's a lot of fun. It's very complicated, though. There are systems within systems within systems. It's not just good enough to go beat a monster about the head with a stick. You also have to make sure your stick remains sharp. You have to make sure that you don't run out of stamina, and make sure you have meat in your bag so that you can uh, eat it for extra stamina. You have to make sure you gather all the appropriate um, honey and herbs that you can mix together to make potions. Um, or actually, I think that, and then you add blue mushroom as mega potion. Uh, Matthew says the loop of Monster Hunter is that of an MMO, including the end game requiring a group to do, or did they change that in Monster Hunter Worlds? The end game has never, so far as I'm aware, required a group to do. I completed the end game in 3 and 3 Ultimate by myself, so I don't know. Really, one of my only criticisms about Monster Hunter World is it is constantly badgering you about online. I mean, it's to the point of belligerence, and it's really, really irritating me. And it's not particularly clear exactly where you go to just like, look, game. I don't want to play online. I'm never going to play online. I'm not a PlayStation Plus member, so I can't play online. Stop pestering me with people who are online and going offline and go. I don't care. Gaming is me time. I don't like playing with other people. Anyway, other than that, game's great. Loading is a little long. Loading is about a minute into a quest. Eh. Um, but it's a really fantastic game. I'm loving the hell out of it. Uh, I mean, if I'm not eating, you know the game is very entertaining. I also really enjoy the fact that the world of Monster Hunter World is just a damn joy to wander around. Uh, I was just exploring the ancient forest, and what's great about it is the enemies or monsters that live there. They're they're not enemies really. They're just wild animals that live out in the woods, and usually they mind their own damn business. Like the great Jagras, um, Kuluyaku, uh, you can walk right next to them. They don't care that you're there or not. And it's really interesting. It feels like a lived in real world because it feels like it doesn't care whether you're there or not. Most of the monsters just go about their business. There are a couple really aggressive ones that will attack you on sight, but even some of the bigger ones like the Rathian and Rathalos, Baroth, um, they're pretty chill unless you go up and pick a fight, um, or steal their eggs in the Rathian's case. Um, Pukey Pukey or Puke Puke, whatever its name is. That one's fairly aggressive in that if he sees you, he'll yell at you, but if you don't come near him, he'll usually turn around and walk away. And it's really neat because I'm just wandering around the woods, minding my own business, picking flowers and stuff, and you'll see the Anjanath walk by, and it's like, oh, hey, there's hey Angie, what's up? Matthew says, still annoyed at the fact that the PC version isn't coming out till the end of the year. Starting to suspect Sony and Microsoft paid cap. No, they didn't. So don't be silly. Why would they do that? Um, oh, I'm sorry. I read that backwards. Sony and Microsoft paid Capcom to hold off on PC version. Probably not, because if they would have paid for console exclusivity, not their console exclusivity, not just PC, not just the. Yeah, no, I don't buy that for a minute. Looking at Capcom's history, it's console first, and I don't think this game has ever been on maybe it has, I don't know. But yeah, if you're a PC gamer, I don't know why, but I'm sorry you have to wait a year for a fantastic game. That does suck. But I'm a console gamer, so I've got it now. Yay! um, so I had an idea of doing videos documenting my first hunt with each monster. Um, and I have, but they're terrible because I'm really, really, really bad at game streaming. I'm just terrible at it. I'm not entertaining. Sometimes I forget to talk. I because again, gaming for me is a very personal, private thing. When I game, and it's difficult for me to actually talk and perform while playing a game. So I've recorded the first several fights, which is interesting because some of them spring out at you. In the previous games, it was go fight this, go fight that. In this one, there's kind of a story like, hey, we're going to the Wildspire Waste and we're gonna um, check out a new rock. It's like, okay, so I guess this is going to be an expedition where we just get the lay of the land. No, Baroth fight. Oh crap, better go turn on my camera. Um, so now I know that just to leave my camera on whenever I do a major quest. Anyway, a very fun game. I highly recommend it to everyone. This is definitely the most newbie friendly of the Monster Hunters. It's still kind of obtuse and inscrutable in some ways. Um, hell, I'm a Monster Hunter veteran myself, and there are some systems in here that I cock my head, I'm like, what? I don't get it. Um, Also, what's funny is for a game as complicated as it is, no manual, because of course there isn't. Often these games end up getting a book, and it's like that big. Um, but another thing that's interesting, and I may actually do a video on this, which I think will be a lot more interesting than me playing the game, is looking at an old wish list I made. And I did a video of my top 5 things I want to see in Monster Hunter like 3 or 4 years ago. And that was from a list of like 20. And it's interesting to see that almost everything in the list has come true in some manner. Um, anyway, Nathan says, seems like every game has that where console games come out before PC has the game come out. Yeah, it does happen fairly frequently. Usually, I guess it's just a developmental resource thing. They're making the console version, they get it out, and then they work on the PC version or go full steam ahead on the PC version. Um, ideally, you'd have everything out at the same time, but what are you going to do? So, let's get to some topics. We had some topics, but I don't have much to say about them. For example, Miitomo is ending. Yes, Nintendo is pulling the plug on its first mobile game. And you can't buy any more coins as of a couple days ago, but it's open until May 9th, and at which point you won't be able to pretty much do anything with it. But if you log in every day, you'll get 2,000 coins every day until it shuts off. So yay! Nobody cares. I feel kind of bad because I like that Nintendo tried something really different, but nobody cares. As I put on Twitter, there was like the greatest collective shrug in the history of collective shrugs. I I can't imagine anyone is that broken up about Miitomo end of lifing. Um, so as far as mobile games, though, Nintendo's been doing some interesting things. Uh, I think the most successful ones are the Pokemon Company ones, Magikarp Jump and Pokemon Go. But Miitomo was an interesting idea and definitely one of those Nintendo let's try something really different kind of things that everyone tried once and then was like, yeah, well, that's a thing, done. Um, Fire Emblem Warriors or Fire Emblem Heroes, I think, is boring and not fun to play. Um, although oddly, and Animal Crossing is boring and not fun to play. Although Animal Crossing is boring and not fun to play as a franchise, in my opinion. Although I know a lot of people who love it. Mario Run, I actually liked. I thought it was a solid game for a mobile game, and I thought it was priced fairly. Oddly, mobile gamers hated that. Like $10? $10? I don't want to pay a fair flat price for a video game. I want you to bilk me over and over and over until I've spent hundreds of dollars. And Nintendo was like, really? Yes. Really? Yeah. Okay. And so they released Fire Emblem Heroes and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, in which you can just keep spending money on it. And they're terrible games because there's no gameplay really. Animal Crossing has zero gameplay, unless you consider picking up something up off the floor and handing it to people, a gameplay, which I guess it could be if Cookie Clicker's gameplay, click, click, click. Fire Emblem Heroes is just boring because there's no strategy. It's simply a matter of make sure your characters are higher level than the other characters. That's it. There's no strategy to it. But those are selling a lot better and making Nintendo a lot more money and getting better mobile reviews. So I guess I just don't understand the mobile gamer. Let's see. Um, Get says you don't have much to say about your topics, hence the podcast title. Yeah. 13U Cube, I'm broken up. I won't sleep at all tonight. Seriously, I don't remember the last time I logged into Miitomo. Yeah. And everyone's being friendly and saying hello. So yeah, Miitomo. I think Nintendo's at least trying new things and trying to go with the flow a bit. Like it recognized that okay, just releasing a good game and charging a flat fee for it is just not what mobile gamers want. Mobile gamers want to be bilked. Okay, here's a cheap, shallow experience that you can just dump money into. You're welcome. Give them what they want, I guess. Matthew says, still think the BioWare Anthem stuff is worth talking about. I don't know anything about the BioWare Anthem stuff because I genuinely don't care. Apparently, there's a Kotaku article that says EA might shutter BioWare if Anthem underperforms. Yeah, I could see that because Mass Effect 3 underperformed. I'm sorry, Mass Effect. Well, it did, but Mass Effect Andromeda underperformed. The Dragon Age games haven't been doing great. Of course, it's really all EA's fault, but that's never stopped them. So I've been saying for a while since they shuttered the who did Hardline, Battlefield Hardline. I forget who the last one to die was. But since the last one went down, I was saying, BioWare's probably next. And yeah, if Anthem does terribly, then maybe EA will shutter them. Wouldn't put it past them. Matthew also asked, do I think EA will learn from its mistakes? No, I do not, because it never has. So, Visceral Games. That's right. Thank you, Matthew. Um, so yeah, I can't speak to that. I haven't read the article. I I just don't care because I EA doesn't make any games that I care about. Um, used to like Dead Space. So much for Dead Space. Uh, Nathan says EA won't learn its lesson. Power money hungry people who don't care as long as they make money. Yeah. They should give up on forcing Frostbite down developers' throats. But that won't happen, says Matthew. Probably not. I just don't care. And I know a lot of you do because EA makes some very popular IP, but I'm fortunate in that EA makes nothing I care about. Like literally nothing. I don't care about any of their IP, or rather, I'm not interested in playing any of their IP. Again, Dead Space was good. The first two. The third one sucked because of EA. Had nothing to do with Visceral. Um, let's see what else do we want to talk about. Zachary turned my attention to this week's extra credits episode, which argued that games shouldn't be $60. They should be more than $60 because they're very expensive to make. And he thought that was an interesting video because I'm staunchly against paying $60 for games. So, what do I think about the idea of even more expensive games? I'm fine with it. I don't care. Charge $70 for a game. Charge 80, charge 100. I don't care. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying 60. So you can charge whatever the hell above that you want. I'm not paying 60 now. So if you charge me 70, 80, 90, 100, $150 tomorrow, I don't care cuz I'm still not buying it. I did find the extra credits video interesting because they seem to miss a pretty obvious solution. They were talking about how games are super expensive to make, so it's imperative that developers find some extra revenue streams. I mean, they cost millions and millions of dollars, and just selling 6 million copies isn't enough. So we have to have DLC and microtransactions, and loot box, and all that stuff. Okay, okay, or you could stop spending so damn much on your games. You could budget them appropriately so that you don't have to sell 13 million copies in order to break even. You could do that. They're not going to do that. So again, charge $150 for your game. Uh, throw in season passes, loot boxes, microtransactions, do all of it. I don't care because I'm not buying it. So let's see. Matthew says, I argue the price equilibrium for games is $40. The data I have seen seems to imply that that's the revenue maximizing point. Okay. Yeah, I'll pay $40 for a game unless it's handheld, then I absolutely will not. And you might say, why? Are you suggesting that handheld games aren't worth $40? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Handheld games are not worth $40 because they're handheld games. So they're not worth that much. $20. I will not pay more than $20 for a 3DS game, period. But that's just me. Of course, being so cheap, it means that I get a lot of games. I buy and play a lot more games than someone of my financial situation would if he or she bought $40 handheld games or $60 console games because I'm cheap as hell. I buy lots of games because I wait till they're $20 or $30, which is why I still don't have Zelda because I'm not paying $80 for a game. I don't care if it's Zelda or not. I mean, you look at Monster Hunter. I would not pay $60 for Monster Hunter World, even though this is a game I will put hundreds of hours into. For the same reason, because I just don't pay that much for a video game. I won't pay over $15 for a pair of sunglasses. I won't pay over $20 for a pair of pants or a shirt because they're not worth that to me. Now, I'll pay whatever gasoline costs because I have to have it. $5 a gallon? It's not worth it. Well, you're right. It's not worth it, but I have to have it so I can get to work. I don't need sunglasses. I do need pants, but luckily I can get them for less than $20. 13U Cube, $60 is plenty, and they don't release complete games, and they want more. Yes, yes, because companies are not interested in making money. They're interested in making all the money. And search my YouTube channel for all the money video, which my sister and I made, and I think it's pretty good. Nathan, what's up with Nintendo coming up with cardboard box stuff for the Switch? Uh, what's up with Nintendo? Nintendo is genius. They're also way overcharging for it, but they're also genius. We talked about Nintendo Labo last week. Second, so you didn't buy Monster Hunter World? I did buy Monster Hunter World. I paid $47.99 for it. Again, I don't pay $60 for games. That's more than I'm willing to pay. I know people who have Amazon Prime, so I gave them my credit card and said, "Here, pre-order Monster Hunter World for me." And because Amazon Prime has some like 20% discount or whatever um, for some pre-orders, that's how I got Monster Hunter World. I also have Yakuza 6 pre-ordered for $47.99. Same thing with Super Mario Odyssey. Uh, Nathan saw the All the Money video. Very funny. I'm glad you liked it. Um, oh, by the way, check out my Mad Lib video because I have new Mad Libs. We're going to try that again, maybe if I can get enough people to give me words. Interestingly, last time I had about 9 people just give me a full list of words. This time I've had about the same number of people, but they only gave me like one word each, which was really weird. Some of the same people, but they'd like, here's one verb. However much you want to appreciate, I pay that. But 13U says, do you pay more for internet or gasoline in a month? Gas. Uh, Costs me 30 some dollars depending on how low I am to fill up the tank, and I gas up at least twice a month. The internet is $64.99, I believe. So it's about the same. Uh, is that boy support manga, Witch Buster, Bleach? Thanks. You're welcome. I support manga. I don't know what I know what Bleach is. I don't know what Witchbuster is. Bleach didn't really do it for me. It's all right, but seen better. Uh, and I'm out of topics. That's all I wanted to talk about. Would have been better if Zachary was here, but he is not. So, anyone have any topics? Because if you don't, I may just ramble about Monster Hunter and how great it is. Did I mention I ate breakfast at 5:30 this afternoon? One Piece. I don't like One Piece either. Do we want to talk about anime and manga? Zachary is sick, unfortunately. He got sick today, so he asked me to handle the show. Um, oh, I did a debut review for Stranger Things a few weeks ago. Um, and I've been having some phenomenal insomnia in the last week, so I watched the rest of Stranger Things. And it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Um, and I hate calling things okay because that always I feel okay kind of undersells whatever I'm talking about. Um, but I genuinely mean it's okay. I enjoyed it well enough. There was a lot I liked about it. Really, my biggest complaint about Stranger Things is it's slow as molasses in the first half. First 4 episodes drag. This should not have been 8 episodes. It should have been 6. They could have easily shortened this by 2 episodes. But it was still all right. I still mostly enjoyed it. And it was good enough that I started watching Stranger Things season 2. And season 2 is leaps and bounds beyond Stranger Things 1. Oh my goodness. It is amazing how much better the second season is. I've only seen the first 3 episodes out of 9, I think there are. And I probably won't watch the last 6 for until the summer because I'll be busy with Monster Hunter and then Yakuza. But man, Stranger Things 2 just hits the ground running. To be fair, it has the benefit of a first season where you know all the characters and where everyone is. So it gets a lot of mileage out of that, but it's just much quicker paced. It's a lot more interesting of what's going on. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing the rest of Stranger Things too. Let's see. Did he get the flu that's been going around, Zachary? I have no idea. He said he was hacking up a lung, so possibly. When is the next time I'm going to do reviews again? I like debut reviews. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do the like an entire season of anime because it just takes up too much time, and work is taking up even more of my time. Uh, cost of living's going up. Uh, Salary is not, so I have to work more. Such is life. Um, but I will try to do an occasional debut review here and there. So I did a debut review for My Hero Academia. I did one for Stranger Things. Did one for season 5 of Agents of Shield. So I'll try to do something like that. If any of you have suggestions for shows you'd like me to review the first episode of, let me know and I'll look into it. D Gray Man. No idea what that means. Is that boy? Seeking, everybody I know is obsessed with that show. Which shows? Stranger Things. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why Stranger Things became because it's not that good. It's fine, but River says for a newbie, what Yakuza game should I start with? Um, 6 is probably the new one that comes out in March will probably be fine. Really, anyone except Dead Souls. Do not play Dead Souls unless you are a fan of Yakuza. One, because it is a little bit clunky, but two, it's also not exactly representative of how the series plays, because it's the zombie shooter spin-off of the bunch. I started with 3. That's a fine one to start with because you play Kiryu throughout the entire game. Some people think the Okinawa stuff is a little slow, but the game is kind of as fast as you want to take it. You can just plow through the story or just wander around doing stuff. 4 and 5 both have multiple characters. I think 5 handles it a little bit better, but 4 is right up there. Yakuza 0 is pretty damn good because it has 2 characters and it keeps switching back and forth between them, unlike 4 and 5, where you do one character, then you do the next, then you do the next, then the next, and then the finale. So 0 is balanced pretty well like that. But yeah, I probably, unless 6 ends up sucking, really any of them will be fine. Probably 6 is probably a good one as any. Um, Matthew, has the meltdown specter fixes affect your company at, or does it not? I have no idea what that means, Matthew. I'm sorry. Nathan likes the dancing diaper man. Okay. River says, thanks. My GameStop has 4 and 0 for less than $15. Then yeah, absolutely go for it. 4 is a little bit older. 0's newer. 4 is actually the very first one I played on like a free trial of PS Plus. Yakuza 4 was available, and I played the first chapter. And I said, I need this. So you really can't go wrong with 4 because that one hooked me. And then I went back and played 3 because I couldn't get 1 or 2 because they were out of print. Seekin, what advice do you have for someone who's never played Monster Hunter, wants to get into Monster Hunter World? Is there a steep learning curve? Not as steep as previous games, but some of the systems can be fairly inscrutable. Playing with other people is genuinely recommended. I never did that. I picked it up. I'm no genius, but I think Monster Hunter World is definitely the easiest entry point. I would say that probably your best bet is just pick a good weapon to start with. You might gravitate towards the Great Sword, which is, the Buster Sword, the 12-foot broadsword. But that's really tough to use because it's super, super slow. And a lot of people will use that sword and go, oh, this sucks. You can't cancel it. It takes forever to swing. You can't cancel out of anything, which actually isn't true. But I would go for sword and shield, dual swords, or was the stick, insect glaive. Because those are the faster, more hammer on the button to attack kind of weapons. They're the weapons that you have to think the least about. Lance and longsword are pretty good ones too, for starters. They're the ones you have to think the least about, which is good because there's a lot of other things to think about, like sharpening, maintaining your health, maintaining your weapon's sharpness, which even a blunt object like the hammer you have to sharpen, go figure. You don't have to sharpen any of the ranged weapons, though, so that's nice. There are ranged weapons. There's 2 types of bow guns and a bow and arrow. So really, my advice would be to pick a weapon that isn't a super technical weapon like the charge blade, the one I'm using. Because it's one of those weapons that transforms between sword and axe, and it has these little files that you have to constantly, you beat a monster, you hit the monster with the sword, and then the sword glows red and starts bouncing off. So you dock it in the shield to store energy, and then you transform into axe to output that energy as electricity. But there's also ways to store the energy into the shield and then put it into the sword itself. It's a super complicated weapon. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but if when you're first starting Monster Hunter, you have a lot of stuff to pay attention to, that it's probably best if you pick a weapon that's just slam on the button to start beating monsters over the head. So that would be my advice. Also, don't be afraid to ask. I don't know, but I have heard that the monster hunting community is super accommodating to newbies and will help you out. So if you like playing online, there you go. Matthew, was the software your company makes affected by them at all? Was the software affected by who? Has the meltdown Spectre fixes affect your? I don't know what that means. Um, I don't know what that means, Matthew. I'm sorry. Hi, Trilink. 13U Cube. Skies of Arcadia, Bot and Kaitos, not the Origins double disc one. I have to sell one, haven't played the other. Which to sell, which to keep? Well, assuming you've played neither, I mean, if you've played one and not the other, then sell the one you've played. But if you've played neither of them, I'd keep Skies of Arcadia. Is it the GameCube version? I hope it's the GameCube version, the Skies of Arcadia Legends. I love Bot and Kaitos, but I would put Skies of Arcadia above it. So, yeah, my voice is kind of going. Correct. No Zachary. Zachary is sick, so I'm handling the podcast. Yes, both are GameCube. Well, yeah, Bot and Kaitos is only GameCube. But yeah, if you haven't played either of them and it's possible to hang on to both, I would, because I think they're both pretty great. I do think Skies of Arcadia is better, but yeah. Which Mon Hun were you just talking about? Monster Hunter World, the new one, the one that came out yesterday that I've been playing since I got home late last night. Although I did go to bed at like 2:30 in the morning or something like that. Deja Voodoo. Hello, dear friends. Is this the Molehill Mountain Show, episode 83 with Andrew Eisen? By gum, it is. Yeah. Monster Hunter World. The non-Switch one. Yeah, the non-Switch one. Yeah. Monster Hunter World is not on the Switch. It's on PS4 and Xbox One and will be on the PC next fall. There is a Monster Hunter Double Cross or Generations or whatever they're calling it that is on the Switch in Japan. Maybe that'll come out in the West. I honestly don't care because it is inferior to Monster Hunter World, so I have no interest in playing that version because Monster Hunter World is better. Monster Hunter Double Cross is pretty much it's Monster Hunter. I mean, it's great. I'm glad it's on console, and since I have a Pro controller for the Switch, it wouldn't be a pain to play. But I don't know if I'd want to go back to old Monster Hunter after playing Worlds. They do a lot of really great stuff in this game that makes it a lot friendlier. I'm really enjoying the open maps. If you don't know, the older Monster Hunter, the previous Monster Hunter games, you'd have a major area to hunt in, and it would be subdivided into smaller areas with a loading zone between each area. So it's essentially like little arenas. So you'd be fighting a monster in area 1, and then you'd get the snot kicked out of you, and your health would be down. So you'd zone out and load into area 2, and there'd be a loading screen between them, and you'd heal, and then you'd run back in loading screen and go back into the original area. This is just one continuous world. So when you want to heal and you start running away, the monster might chase your ass down. Loading zones will not help you here. But some things have changed. In the old games, when you took a health potion, you were rooted to the spot for about a second and a half, 2 seconds while you went chug chug. That was deliberate. Some people hate that, but that's deliberate because you have to make sure you have a 2 second window to take a health drink. It's part of the strategy, it's part of the gameplay. In this game, that changes in that you can walk a little bit while you're chugging your health drink, which is good because you can't zone out to go sharpen or take a drink or eat meat for stamina boosts or anything. Um, and again, it's just really a I only have 2 levels open, the Wildspire Waste and the Ancient Forest, but it is genuinely just a joy to wander around the ancient forest and explore. As I was talking about early in this podcast, it feels like a living, breathing world that exists, whether you're there or not. You see the monsters that you always hunt, you'll see them wandering around all the time. And most of them don't care about you unless you come up and kick them in the ankle. You know, even some of them are super aggressive and will come after you sight on as soon as they spot you. Some, if they see you, they will just roar, and if you don't do anything, they'll turn around and go away. Some of them are so uninterested that you can just walk right next to them. You know, just go for a walk with the great Jagras. Great Jagras doesn't care. Great Jagras not interested in you. Um, and that's actually kind of nice because sometimes you're wandering around doing other stuff and you don't want to get in a fight, mainly because you're not ready or equipped for it, but also partially because you're not on a quest, so you're not going to get any quest rewards if you spend however long it's going to take felling an Anjanath or whatever. It's like, no, I'll fight you on a quest so I get my duly earned rewards. um, One of the great things about Monster Hunter, not just Worlds, but some of the previous games, is there's a phrase for this, and I forget what it is, but emergent gameplay, I suppose. Um, Monster Hunter is great for telling stories, around the campfire. Oh man, I was doing this thing and then this happened. You know, it's hard to talk about. You can't really do that with, say, Super Mario Brothers. Oh, I was in World 1-1 and there was this pit and I jumped over it because that's it plays exactly this. It plays out exactly the same way. World 1-1 plays out the same way for everyone, right? Monster Hunter, not just World, but all of them, go hunt a monster and weird stuff can happen sometimes. For example, I was playing the beta and I was fighting Nergigante, which is the big elder dragon. And um, there is a paralysis toad in the game. And it's just a frog, and he just sits there minding his own business. But if you attack him, he will belch out a nauseous cloud of gas that will paralyze a monster and you if you're in the way. So ideally, what you want to do is, bait a monster over to you, kick the paralysis toad, and then run away while the monster chases you into the cloud. The monster gets paralyzed, and then you go beat it on the head while it's immobile for a few seconds. That's what's supposed to happen. However, I did not know what a paralysis toad was. I never even saw it. So Nergigante and I are trading blows and wrestling back and forth and rolling across the ground together, and we both hit a damn paralysis toad. And and so Nergigante is like, ah, 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 and my character's on the ground, and we're both of us laying there like idiots, going, ah. It was hilarious. And that happened like 3 times in the same fight because there's 3 paralysis toads in that arena, and we hit every damn one of them. And there's something particularly hilarious about a giant elder dragon, immobilized, and a little itty bitty hunter laying on the ground doing the same thing. Is so funny. Just can't stay away from the paralysis toads. There was another fight with Nergigante where there's an Aptonoth, which is kind of like a big cow creature, and then there's Kestodon, which is it's one of the smaller monsters, but it will attack as soon as it sees you. It's very aggressive, and they're kind of a armor-plated cow. Um, What's interesting about this family of dinosaur or monster or whatever is if you get in a fight with Nergigante and they're near, they'll do that thing where they'll put the young ones in the center and then they'll create a group facing outwards around them. That you know they'll circle the wagons to kind of protect themselves while you guys are tussling. It's really neat. Also, a lot of the other animals will run out of the area when a fight breaks out. I had one fight with Nergigante where it was an awful fight because every time I took a swing at Nergigante, an Aptonoth or Kestodon would run right between us and take the hit. It, it, I wish I had that recorded because it was this amazing comedy of errors. Every time I attacked, some big cow creature would just dum-de doo just walk between. I'm like, get out of the way, you stupid cow monster! Move! Oh god, it's funny. Um, in one of the previous games, Monster Hunter Tri or 3 Ultimate, one of the two, I was I was going out in the field not to hunt a monster. I was going on a gathering quest, gathering supplies and stuff to make cool things, right? So I had an armor set that I had crafted that was good for gathering. It basically gave me an extra gather at each spot. It made my pickaxes and bug nets less likely to break, things like that. Low defense, but it's not for fighting, it's for gathering, you see. So I'm out in the field and I'm up in the raptor nest. Um, and I'm over in the corner digging through a pile of bones. I'm squatting in the corner over this pile of bones, picking stuff out because you can use bones for armor and pickaxes and all kinds of useful things. When I hear whoosh, whoosh, gigantic wings beating against the air. And I'm squatting over there in the corner and I go, oh God, I know that sound. That's a Rathalos, a giant red fire breathing dragon that does not like you very much. I'm in his nest. I don't have any armor on. If he attacks me and hits me, I'm probably going to die. So I swivel the camera around and there's the Rathalos coming in for a landing. And again, I'm squatting in the corner pretty much naked. And the Rathalos lands on his nest and he stands there kind of surveying the area, just looking around. I'm squatting in the corner. I'm like, I'm a rock. I am a rock. You don't see me. And it was a pretty tense 20 seconds. And Rathalos seemed like, okay, things are all right here. And then took off and flew away. I'm like, oh my God. Now, I mean, if he did attack me and kill me, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, but it was pretty damn funny. Um, I remember another. It's always during the gathering quest. I remember I was out in the field gathering stuff, and the Great Jaggy is the starting monster. He's basically a giant velociraptor, uh, and he always has a pack of little velociraptors with him. And so I'm in the middle of the field, and I'm off on the side of an area on my hands and knees digging through the grass gathering mushrooms or something when Great Jaggy makes the scene, spots me from all the way across the field. He's like on the other side of the field and he's like, there's that son of a bitch, get him. And they run all the way across the field and pick a fight with me. And again, I have my gathering clothes on, so I am not in the mood for this. It's so funny. Anyway, great, wonderful games. I hope y'all enjoy them if you get a chance to play them. And Laxter's asking if I paid more than 50 for this game. No, I paid $47.99 for it with someone else's Amazon Prime. Can you wander around the world exploring without there being a time limit, or is there a time limit no matter what you were doing in the game? It's a great question. If you are on a quest, and that quest could be anything from hunt a monster to gather a bunch of plants, but it's usually hunt or capture a particular monster or slay a certain number of the smaller monsters. Um, it's typically 50 minutes is your time limit, which is plenty of time. Also, you can't pause the game because I learned that because I started a quest and I was like, "Oh shoot, it's a new monster. I have to record this." So I was like, "I better take a shower because I just finished working out. I'm a sweaty mess." So I took a shower, got dressed, unpaused the game, and realized 20 minutes had passed. I'm like, "Oh, so it doesn't stop the clock when I go to the home menu. It keeps going." Ah, good to know. But still, plenty of time to complete that quest with the half an hour I had left. Um, in the original games, almost all of the areas had a, I forget what it was called, but an expedition quest, which was, I can't remember if it was timed or not, but no, I don't think it was timed. I think it was you go on this quest and it's you can explore the map and gather stuff to your heart's content. This game doesn't have that. This game, you can just go out into the field without being on a quest and spend as much time out there as you want. The neat thing is unlike previous games, is you can start a quest while you're out in the field, and you can complete a quest and go back to your base camp in the field, and then start another quest. In the original game, you could only, or in the earlier games, you could only start a quest from the town. So if you were out in the field, you couldn't start a quest. Um, you'd have to go back to town and start a quest. If you were on a quest and you're like, this weapon isn't doing it for me, I need a bow gun, you'd have to quit the quest. In this game, you can just go back to your base camp while out in the field and go grab another weapon. So, lots of wonderful quality of life improvements. Hello, Chaos. And Scotty, you're here too. Hello. Trilink, have you recorded your second crowd-funded Mad Lib yet? I'm just working through my words. No, I have not. So, plenty of time. So IGN guide asks Laxter, hell no. No, I did the guide for 3 Ultimate, and it took me nearly 2 months. I think it did take me 2 months. It took me a solid 8 weeks. I'm very, very proud of that guide. I think it's good. And it actually, one of the interesting things about Monster Hunter World is it does a thing that I did for the original guide. For Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, I created a map for each area and made pins for every gathering spot. So if you needed to find a a um, a bomb berry or something or a god bug, you could use my guide and pinpoint exactly where those critters could be gathered from. This game does that for you. As you wander around the map, uh, you fill out the in-game map. So if you're looking for ivy or spider webs or bone piles or something, you can just pull open your map and see all the icons everywhere. It's really great. Um, Also, your palico is amazingly cute. When you go through waist deep water, your palico pulls out a little inflatable raft. Um, you can learn the language of the local bad guys, and your palico can, which is your little cat companion, can ride critters into battle sometimes, which is great. Um, it's really a wonderful, wonderful game. It does take commitment, though. It's not a it's not a very good, oh, I'll just turn this on for a minute and see what the fuss is about. No, no. It's something you have to devote time and effort into understanding to get the most out of it. Um, Pac-Man is a great. Just turn it on real quick. You've got it in 15 seconds. You're like, collect the dots, dodge the ghosts, go. Oh, got it. Oh, this is fun. I get this. Monster Hunter is not one of those games. It's kind of like any of the Disgaea games, if you've ever played any of those. I mean, it's nothing like those mechanically, but in the sense that it's not a pick up and try it really quick kind of game. It's a game you really have to invest some time into to understand, to really appreciate. And so it is with Monster Hunter. Um, and I can understand that a lot of people just don't have that kind of time or patience, but Chaos is a major time sink. People who are fans of Monster Hunter easily put in over 100 hours or more. In fact, I've been playing it for, well, last night and pretty much all day today. And I have not gone very far through the game, the story proper. I have done, let's see, Great Jagras, Kuliaku, uh, who was next? I guess uh, Pukey Pukey, Bear Off. That's four. Let me look real quick. Yeah, just four, I think. So I've only gone through four major quests. The rest of the time, I'm going out there doing some of the side missions, like the big cat that runs the kitchen. He's like, I need you to go out there and slay a bunch of these fish monsters so that I can have more ingredients for my kitchen. I'm like, great. There's another dude who's like, hey, I want to study the Kuluyaku, so go out and capture one for me. I'm like, all right. So I've been doing a lot of that and also just exploring as I think Seekand asked, just kind of wandering around the environments and seeing what's out there. And you find locations for new base camps, and they're like, all right, get us this, this, and this, and then we can build you a new base camp. It's like, okay. Um, Wonderful game. And if y'all get a chance to play it, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Um, I've actually never come across anyone who's like, this game sucks. I've never seen anyone actually think the game is a genuinely bad game. I've seen plenty of people who are like, it's just not for me. I don't I don't like it. This is not my kind of game. But I have never come across anyone who's like, oh, this game is just terrible. Terrible, terrible. Um, I like it. Of course, I also like Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, which I watched um, because I remember seeing the trailer and saying, "Okay, actually, that looks kind of cute." Uh, I've never read the source material, and I heard the name Captain Underpants. I'm like, no. And I saw the trailer. I'm like, maybe. And I watched it, and it was genuinely a joy to watch. I thought it was really funny and quite good, quite good. Um, Chaos says, "Oh, I'm sure I'll buy it eventually once the price drops." And I hope you like it. There's a there's an event quest going on right now where you can get the materials to build. Uh, what's her name? Aloy from Event Horizon. No, Horizon Zero Dawn. So you get an armor set that essentially turns you into Aloy from that game. And you also get an armor set that turns your little Palico cat companion into I haven't played the game yet, so I don't remember what they're called, but little mechanical critter. Um, it's really cute. You can dress up your Palico. You can get armor for your Palico. That's great. You have your own room in town, and you can catch little critters and release them. Unfortunately, only one at a time, which I find upsetting because I want to release everything into my room. But I do have roommates. Maybe I'll get a better room where I can release more critters. Um, Mando Fresco says Hadouken. Um, it's the game is good. Harambe says hi y'all. I'm chilling with them. Uh, okay. Hi Harambe. So yeah, it's 8 o'clock. So that's an hour. I guess we can call it quits here, and I'll just get back to Monster Hunter. um, I don't know when I'm going to get around to editing the videos I've been recording because well, I've edited them a little bit. I still think they're kind of terrible. Seekin said I bought the game, just haven't played it yet. Well, let me know next week what you think about it. Um, River says bye. Bye, River. So Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube. See my videos. Um, Mando says, enjoyed your videos. Love your voice. Keep it up. Thank you much. Um, at Andrew Eisen on Twitter. Laxter says, you got it for PS4? Yes. Monster Hunter World for the PS4. Yeah. I got a PS4 mainly so that I could keep playing the Yakuza games. Um, and then E3 last year, Monster Hunter World. Yay! No longer on the handhelds because I love Monster Hunter, but I am not playing that thing on the handheld. I tried the demo for Monster Hunter 4 and Generations, and I can't stand it. I cannot stand playing Monster Hunter on the 3DS. It is a miserable experience for me, which sucks because I love Monster Hunter. So I'm really happy to be back into Monster Hunter after several years. Um, you should pick up Horizon Zero Dawn. Then Game of the Year edition has the DLC. Yeah, it's on my to buy list. Same thing with Resident Evil 7, which also has a. I think it's called the Gold Edition though. Um, so yeah, that's how I roll. If you do that season pass crap, then I typically am going to be like, all right, I'll wait for a year when the cheaper special edition that includes everything that should have been there in the first place. Um, that's how I do it. I'm surprised you didn't like the second screen on the 3DS for Monster Hunter. The second screen is fine. It's playing it on a handheld is cramped and miserable and annoying and terrible and not the way that game should be played. Uh, Labo, I think, is brilliant, but overpriced. Zachary and I talked about it at length on the previous podcast. Seekin says, when's the next stream? Well, the next podcast, of course, is next week, next Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next game stream, um, I don't know because I'm busy playing Monster Hunter. I mean, maybe I could stream some Monster Hunter tomorrow. I don't know. But I wanted to do what is it called? Sin and Punishment. So maybe next weekend, because I think I just want to play Monster Hunter. I just want to play this. I just want to take the weekend to myself. So maybe next weekend. I'll think about that. I need to check my schedule, see if make sure I'm not working. So anyway, that is that. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll try releasing some of the Monster Hunter videos I've made. I think they're boring and terrible, but I'm very critical. Let me know what you think, and if you watch them and you agree that they're terrible, and you have constructive advice on how to make them less terrible, I'm open to it. So, thank you everyone for hanging out with me this hour. I'm going back to play Monster Hunter. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely week. Bye.